It's me again, Andres. Did you miss me? It's been a few days since I last reported from an event, so I came to another one. This time I'm in the United States, and this time it's because of this motorcycle. But this motorcycle, which had its premiere how many years ago? 43. But that's how much time has passed since machines like this were created. This is none other than the Honda Goldwing, which above all made its mark here in the United States since 1975, and that's where it all began. And apparently, Honda's intention wasn't at all to immediately turn it into a cruiser or a sofa on wheels. It just happened naturally. People started buying them, modifying them, adding saddlebags, installing fairings. And you know what? Of all these years, 800,000 Goldwings have been sold in the United States alone. 800,000 Goldwings, you probably couldn't even park that many in all of Poland. To this day, there are still 250,000 of them on the road, as we found out a moment ago. But the time for change has come because we've seen the statistics on how Goldwing sales look. And every time a new model came out, sales would go up. And now, it's time for this motorcycle right here. As you can see, everyone here is touching, feeling, turning things, doing something. Even the people from Honda can't tear themselves away from it. I'd like them to leave it alone. But you know what? There's one thing that worries me. Notice that this motorcycle actually looks quite sleek. It's not such a behemoth anymore. Let's go over there to the one with the side case. I mean the top case. It's not the same behemoth it used to be. The kind you look at and it's just a giant wardrobe. It even looks well, let's be honest. It's still a huge motorcycle, but it actually looks pretty agile. And it has to be much more agile because they've shaved 40 kilograms of it. It's 40 kilograms lighter. All right. From the back, it still kind of looks like a Goldwing, but they themselves admit they're targeting a younger customer. Let's be honest, the typical Goldwing customer, the kind of person you'd normally picture riding a Goldwing, probably isn't interested in buying a new motorcycle anymore. Because they already have their Goldwing, they just buy more accessories for it and keep riding it. So a change had to be made. A change that would make younger customers, probably in their view, people in their 40s or 50s see this motorcycle differently. To realize it's not just a wardrobe on wheels, but something you can actually ride normally. So what did they do? Changes, changes, changes. Absolutely everything is new in this machine, starting with the frame. I'll go back over there. Sorry for wandering around aimlessly like this. Well, but here's Radek, whom you might remember from Nordcap, sharing his thoughts. I'll try to speak from a distance. Everything, absolutely everything is new. So I'll move on to the engine now. The engine has the same layout because it's a 6-cylinder. A flat 6-boxer layout. Actually, it's a flat 6, not a boxer. You know there's a difference between a flat 6 and a boxer? I know there is too, but I can't recall it off the top of my head right now. I need to remind myself what the difference is. But let's get back to more important things. They actually managed to shorten the engine. It's 29 millimeters, so was it 26? No, 29 millimeters shorter compared to the previous one. Thanks to that, they were also able to move the driver forward. The riding position on this motorcycle has also been changed a bit. Look, here is the previous bike, the old engine, and here is the new one. One particularly interesting thing to note about the overall setup. There is a single solitary camshaft. This singular camshaft efficiently operates the intake valves by means of tappets, and it also operates the exhaust valves through the use of push rods. Kind of funny, isn't it? It's definitely about reducing weight, because they managed to shave 6 kilograms off the engine alone. Probably also increased combustion efficiency, I don't know. This is Honda's idea for, I don't know, avoiding something. This is used in motocross bikes. Tomorrow I'll try to catch an engineer to talk more about it. This spot is interesting because it's where the alternator goes, which is integrated with the starter. Thanks to that, it starts the Goldwing up a bit like a PCX 125. You don't hear the starter at all, and suddenly it's just running right away. So that's just brilliant. Everything was done to make this engine as efficient as possible. It has more power and more torque than the previous one. The curves are better managed, and at the same time it uses 20% less fuel. Well, that's a lot, and thanks to that they were able to lower weight. Let me check my notes. 5 liters, I think, or was it 4 liters? Sorry. 4 liters. This motorcycle has a smaller fuel tank. So at first, everyone probably criticized them for putting in a smaller oil tank, but the motorcycle will simply consume much less fuel. So that's that. As I said, the riding position, I got on it right away. The first thing I did was get on, and I thought, damn, it feels kind of strange, because it seemed to me that it was tighter, but there's actually the same amount of legroom everywhere, and only during the presentation did I find out that the rider is shifted forward in this case. And that's why I had that impression, but it actually benefits the weight distribution, so thanks to that, the motorcycle will handle better as well. You can actually see it by how the handlebars are set up. Take a look. Here we'll smoothly move on to the frame. Sorry guys. All right, never mind. Screw that. Look at how long the handlebars are here. This is the frame from the previous model, the 17th. See how it extends toward the rider? And what about the handlebars here? It's a huge difference. Yeah. So let's move on to the chassis and the frame itself, because that's also world class. Here, as I said, the frame is made up of over 20 individual parts welded together. That's the first thing. Here, from what they said, it's made from 4. The fewer welds there are, the better and stiffer the construction, and the better it handles. But that's not the absolute biggest highlight of this remarkable suspension system, because you've probably already noticed what's truly new and quite distinctive in the Goldwing. Look, a new suspension, they call it a double wishbone, meaning a double control arm. You have one control arm at the bottom, another at the top. Here's the shock absorber. Don't be surprised, because there's no spring installed here so that we can move it like this. So the spring is normally removed. There's usually a spring here. The funniest thing about all of this is that the steering head is attached directly to the frame. Look closely, it moves precisely just like the steering head. Thanks to this ingenious solution, the wheel doesn't move laterally toward the main frame, but instead goes straight up vertically, which significantly improves overall comfort and supposedly enhances stability as well. Stability for sure, but for example, as I think about it now, if the motorcycle doesn't shorten its wheelbase when braking, then, but okay, this isn't about riding sportily through corners. Here, it's about making it as comfortable as possible, and this solution will provide that comfort. Notice that the handlebars are connected to the front suspension using these kinds of linkages, weights, what they call in cars. Linkages, exactly, because look, they're on these kinds of pivots, just like in a car. That's exactly what it's for, to isolate the driver from the movement of the suspension. Because look, everything moves here, but you won't feel anything on the handlebars. Apparently it's quite an interesting sensation when you're riding, and honestly I can't wait to try it. What's next? At the back, there's also a new suspension in the Tour, or Touring Versiono Tour. The suspension will be electronically controlled, changing its characteristics depending on the riding mode. In the standard version, there's just a regular adjustment here for the spring preload, so you can adapt it to the load. A wider rear tire. There you go. A ventilated brake disc, just like in a car. It looks funny, but it's definitely effective. And that's it. For now, when it comes to the chassis, let's move on to the motorcycle itself. Oh Jesus, there's a lot of talk about it. First of all, they've removed the buttons, and I don't know if I like that. After all, the Goldwing was all about having as many buttons as possible. If there are no buttons on this side and no buttons on that side, then the buttons had to be moved to the center, as you can see here. Here we have the entire control center. We can turn things, exit, and navigate through. Of course, there's Bluetooth, radio, everything you need, Apple CarPlay. So if you have an Apple phone and a Bluetooth set, you'll be able to display navigation, music, everything you want right here. A very important feature, an electrically adjustable windshield and an additional deflector or air vent. Thanks to this, it also changes the airflow from below, so you can adjust how much wind you want around your head, more or less. Fortunately, there are quite a lot of buttons here, just as it should be. There are also quite a few buttons here, which suggest that this is the DCT version. The DCT version, attention, 7 gears. 7 gears. And this is also already the third generation of the DCT gearbox with a damper that further smooths out gear changes. And above all, longer gear ratios that allow for lower fuel consumption on long distances. Panniers. Wait, let me make sure I'm not lying to you. 30 liters, side cases. Wait, I don't want to mislead you. I'll tell you exactly. 30 liters for the side cases, but total, lockable. There's even a soft carpet inside. That's it. And the top case holds another 50 liters. These backrests are accessories because there are several equipment versions, but I won't go into that too much right now. A cool feature is that here it also shows which case might not be fully closed. Let's see if it worked just now. Yes, see? So if you don't close something properly, it immediately lets you know, so there's no chance anything will fall out along the way. That's actually pretty cool. Cruise control, not cruise control. And most importantly, reverse gear. Reverse is a must, but right now reverse works both forward and backward. It's electric, an electric drive, which means, for example, if you want to push the motorcycle forward in the garage, you can do it smoothly with this button without having to start it up. You just do it like that. Of course, there are riding modes. Apparently, there's quite a difference. We'll find out everything tomorrow. Oh, and audio. There are two versions. One has 2 speakers. There's also the Tourer version, which has 4 speakers. Although with these equipment versions, it's quite interesting because the Tourer should have a trunk, a top case at the back, and the speakers here are somewhere else. They must have messed something up here because they said that the basic version without the trunk only has 2 speakers. So what are these additional speakers doing here? I don't know. Full LED lighting, of course. Fart. Things like that. That's it. Then that's really it. Although I see I've already been talking about this motorcycle for 13 minutes, and probably only tomorrow after the first ride will I be able to say something more. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm a bit worried because I've gotten used to the fact that the Goldwing is, a big senseless beast, just huge. And now, if it's going to be lighter more, they even call it sporty, won't it lose its charm? Won't it just become an ordinary touring motorcycle? A good one, sure. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, tomorrow is the ride. Texas is all straight roads, although apparently there are some curves here. We'll find out. Great crew. It's going to be fun. Thanks.